The Lady of Stavoren, a Dutch legend. If you take the ferry across the Zuider Zee to the northern province of Friesland, you will land at a small town called Stavoren. Today it's a little more than a ferry landing, a brief stop in the journey north. You'd never guess this was once one of the great port cities of Europe. Yet so it was, many centuries ago, and so it might be still, if not for the choice made by one lady. The fine harbor at Stavoren welcomed the ships of many countries, and many countries were visited by the ships of Stavoren. So rich and proud became the city's merchants, they fitted their doors with handles and hinges of gold. Among these merchants was a young widow, richest of the rich and proudest of the proud. They called her the Lady of Stavoren. The lady would stop at nothing to show herself better than her fellow merchants. She filled her palace with the most costly goods from wherever her ships made port, but her rivals always found the means to copy her. I must show them once and for all that I am their better, she said to herself. Somehow I must get hold of the most precious thing in the world. One day the lady met a rich and handsome sea captain who had just sailed into Stavoren. Said the captain, "My lady, I was told you were the wealthiest woman in Stavoren, but no one warned me you were also the most charming." From then on, the lady and the captain were seen everywhere, and it was not long before the captain knelt before her and asked for her hand in marriage. "Gladly, dear captain," said the lady, "but there's one condition. As a wedding gift, you must bring me the most precious thing in the world." "What is that?" said the captain, "and where do I find it?" "If I knew," said the lady, "I would have bought it myself. I ask you to discover it and bring it to me." The next day the captain sailed from Stavoren in search of the most precious thing in the world. Months passed. Everyone in Stavoren knew of the captain's quest. The lady was delighted to be causing such a stir. "And how they will envy me," she said to herself, "when my captain returns with his gift." At long last the captain's ship was sighted entering the harbor. The captain's ship was just docking. "My lady," he called, "I have brought you what you desired, the most valuable thing in the world." "What is it, my captain?" called back the lady, barely able to hold in her excitement. "I visited many ports in many lands," the captain said. "I saw many wonderful things. None could I say was the most precious of all. But at last in the city of Danzig I came across it. And then I laughed at myself. I should have known it from the first." "But what is it?" said the lady impatiently. "Wheat," cried the captain. "My ship is filled with wheat." "Wheat," said the lady. Her face grew white. "Yes, dear lady," said the captain joyously. "What could be more precious, more valuable than wheat? Without our daily bread, what good are all the treasures of the world? It's my wedding gift to you." Said the lady, "Pour it into the harbor, every grain of it." "What?" Now the captain's own face was white. "There is wheat enough here to feed a city. If you have no use for it, then give it to the poor and hungry. After all, you too may some day be in need." "I?" shrieked the lady, "in need?" She plucked from her finger the ruby ring the captain had given her and held it high. "This ring will return to my hand before I am ever in need." And with all her might she flung it far into the harbor. The captain watched as the ring hit the water and sank, and then he looked at the lady on the dock. Her face was red with rage. He spoke not another word to her, but turned to his men and said, "Cast off!" When the ship reached the harbor mouth, the captain had his men pour all the wheat overboard, and then he sailed from the harbor, never to return. The next day, the lady held a grand feast for all the richest merchants of Stavoren. A huge roast fish was set before her for carving. As she was about to cut into it, the lady saw something glinting in the fish's mouth. She pulled out the object and held it up. It was the ruby ring. A few weeks later, fishermen found that a sandbar was building beneath the water at the harbor's mouth. The discarded wheat had sprouted and grown and was catching the sand that before had drifted freely. Soon the tall ships could not enter. The harbor was ruined, and with it went the fortunes of the city. Many of the merchants lost everything. Among them was the Lady of Stavoren. In the tiny town of Stavoren today, the sandbar is still called Lady's Sand, a reminder of how the Lady of Stavoren scorned the most precious thing in the world.